we are privileged today to have Gary Vaynerchuck in the room. He just got done giving an excellent message at one of the biggest bookstores in the country, Pal's Books. And he is traveling the country sharing Jab, Jab, Right Hook. And it's an incredible book. I've had the privilege of reading a good portion of it so far. It's very practical. It's meaty. I've read Crush It and Think Economy, but this is the real deal. And he's really giving back in a lot of ways. So appreciate you being here.
Excited to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me on.
How's the journey been so far?
It's been good. I mean, the global journey of my life has been pretty intense and interesting. The local journey of Jab, Jab, Right Hook has been really enjoyable so far. You're right. There's a meatiness to this book. I wanted to write a how-to book instead of a why book.
Right.
I think Crush It was why and how-to. Think Economy was very why. Very I want to see how smart I am. Jab, Jab, Right Hook is very... I'm desperate for everybody who watches this that if I'm privileged enough for them to get a copy, that they email me in a year and say, I'm basically obsessed with this finish line. Yeah. Everybody who reads it emails me in a year and say, wow, that really helped me.
Yeah, no, that's great. So there's a lot of noise about social media. I think people get that it's worth it. I think you helped accomplish that job with your first couple of books.
Yeah.
But, what are they messing up with? What's the problem here?
The problem is give, then ask. Jab, 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 right hook. Understanding the psychology and the demo of who's watching this right now, there's a lot of people, and I'm talking to you, that are in the right hook business. I follow a lot of people. I'm watching everybody. I'm convinced that there's a lot of people that right hook here. That when they're posting on Facebook and Twitter, they're trying to convert.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people need to figure out how to put out content that's romancing so that you can go in for the close. And so I talk about the 19-year-old dude move in some of my most famous talks. You just can't get a community. Email marketing worked so much for our space that people are trying to treat social that way, and it's not that. And I wanted to create the jab, 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 right hook thing just works, right? I'm trying to teach people that you have to give, and then ask. And that's what I do, right? It's why I convert. I feel like I continue to hustle after waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning East Coast, which was 2 o'clock in the morning here, flying all the way here, working all day on media, then doing this book signing. I get text about, do I want to do this today?
Right.
Easy for me to fold and be like, I've done enough.
Totally.
But I know that there's enough people watching right now who don't know who I am or have heard a little bit. And if I can give value in this interview, it sets me, I'm not even, most people when they're on book selling mode, they're worried about this being the moment they sell. The reason I think I've been doing such a good job and converting is I'm actually here to jab. I want to answer your questions in a meaty format that brings people value. And then, I don't even need it now. A year from now, 6 months from now, my next book, if I continue to bring value to this audience, then I may have the privilege of converting.
So my experience with you, I met you the first time at South by Southwest in Austin in 2012. You said, hi, you're really nice. We just met on the street. And then I saw your tweets, and you're literally telling everybody where you are and hanging out with people. And then your books, and then, seeing you tonight and engaging with the audience and people and just being there for them, coming in here tonight, which is great. You really are epitome of your message.
I believe in jabs, man. What value proposition would have it been for me when we met in the streets of Austin, Texas, or in South by, for me to not be nice? Just because everybody wants to meet, I'm so thankful. I'm like a celebrity at South by. It's the weirdest thing. And people that I hang out with, they're like, are you tired of this? Because, it's kind of intense. And I'm like, are you out of your mind? Do you know how lucky I am? If you have 20 people that follow you on Twitter and they actually care what you say, you have 20 fans.
You got a tribe going.
I mean, that's insane. And so I appreciate you saying that. And to me, I just don't know any other filter. One, I'm lucky that I was born a nice human being. I'm lucky that I have a mother who's extremely people-oriented and taught me good manners. And I'm lucky that I have the perspective of, I'm blessed to have this opportunity that people want to read what I write about, where hundreds of people come out to Portland as far away from me as possible to hear. I mean, I'm flattered. I'm flattered that, hey, Gary V at South by, of course I'm going to say hello and try to be nice because I'm thankful.
Oh, that's great. It's great. And this is the real meat in it. I read the chapter on Facebook, And I thought it was interesting. I think you said something about, I thought this would be a shorter chapter, but it ended up being the longest chapter in the book. And why is that? I mean, that's...
Facebook's the most mature analytically.
Yeah.
And the reason, just for everybody at home, that I compared this to boxing is boxing is known as the sweet science. Boxing's much more complicated than two dudes going into the ring trying to bash each other. I mean, Floyd Mayweather is going to make $1 billion on this shoulder move that he created that protects him. And it's that subtle.
Yeah.
Same with social media. I'm sitting here being interviewed. I'm getting hundreds of people to come to a book signing. I'm getting mobbed at South by subtle scientific things like what time to post, what colors to put in the pictures, what hashtag to follow on Twitter. And I wanted to share that. And so, you know, the Facebook chapter ended up being the deepest because there's the most that you can talk about. And as I started buying into, let me go deeper in this book than I ever had before, it all became and, comma, furthermore,
right.
Oh wait, and you know, and Facebook allows you to do that because there's the algorithm of getting through the news feed. There's you know the ad product that is so complicated and so good if you know what you're doing. So it's the media's platform.
No, that's great. So many people are trying it with social media. They're not seeing sometimes a return on investment, and you're saying they're right hooking, meaning they're asking, and people are super annoyed with that. So
how many times are you going to post on Facebook for somebody to buy your product? I mean, like how many times? You know, like, you know, why are you not bringing value? And I said tonight, and I know you caught wind of it in the concept of all this, everybody's a media company. And so if you're a media company and you're now Sports Illustrated, if every one of your pages is an ad, nobody's buying Sports Illustrated. So you've got to have a cover story. Right. You've got to have articles inside. I put out content. I do these interviews because they're an easy way for me to create content. You're asking me questions, I'm putting out new content. You've got to bring value to people up front. It's just not going to work. Search is intent. If I'm searching, I'm looking for something. That's why that's walking into a right hook. Social, I'm there to hang out with my friends or learn about sports, or you've gotta treat it differently.
Yeah.
You know, search is like going to the strip club. You know, search is like, you know, the context is there, like, you know, but social is like going to a bar. You've got to have some game to close what you're trying to achieve that night. And that's what people need to realize.
So there's a lot of case studies in here. I mean, it's kind of like a textbook, right?
Yes, it is.
So there's real deep content, and each chapter, most of the chapters go over the most important social media sources, platforms. But what are the ones not in there that you're dabbling at?
Snapchat was very young when I wrote this. You know, books are slow. I wrote this in March. Here we are in November, December, it's just coming out. Snapchat over the last 9 months, in that in-between period of finishing the book and when it comes out, I've learned a lot more about how to use it. Vine's evolved. Instagram's got ads. Twitter now has cards. There's a lot that's changed. It's why I do the audio. The audiobook will come out in April of 2014, because when I do my audiobooks, I update it because I'm always writing about stuff that's going on. I would say the one that probably is most on my radar in a weird way is LinkedIn. I think LinkedIn is starting to show me moves that they're trying to become the B2B Facebook. And if they pull that off, they've got a shot. So if you're B2B, LinkedIn is getting really interesting. LinkedIn pages, treat them like Facebook pages. I'm seeing some results. And Snapchat, just because it has the attention. But again, that's for people that are selling to 18 to 25. A lot of people watching right now are selling to 25 to 55. To me, that's Instagram is probably the one that's most growing because the normals are going there and you're gonna have to figure out how to storytell there. And that doesn't have linking out. I mean, imagine, I know how you guys roll. Not having linking out, so you got to treat it like newspaper and magazine ads. You just have to make something compelling. There's a lot of challenges. Marketing has never been harder, and I think that I think we can sit here and cry about it and say, "Woe is me! I wish I grew up where you just put ads in the back of a magazine." But the world's changed.
What would you say to somebody that they feel like they're doing social media? They feel like I'm jabbing, but they're not getting results from that. What would you say to them?
There's one of two ways. I mean, your right hooks suck, or you're actually just bad at jabbing. Like, I know how to jab, not as well as a real boxer. I mean, I know the concept, but what if they're missing? And so if your jabs are missing, your right hooks are going to miss. If your jabs are landing, but you don't have a good right hook, it might not even matter if you land it.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of variables. All I'm trying to do is give everybody the best advice to give them a chance to convert.
Gotcha.
Because I think 99% of the people that are watching right now have not even put themselves in a position to convert.
And that includes individuals to big companies, probably.
That's right. That's from an entrepreneur that's got an individual product or an $80 ebook. They don't understand. They think they can JV with other people's lists. It's not going to work. Yeah. I mean, all this stuff is diluting. And so you've got to figure out how to storytell, giving away free chapters. I mean, look at the easiest game out there. Everybody who builds their email list by giving away a free ebook, right? It works because at least you're giving them something.
Right.
Like, you got to do more stuff like that.
Yeah. So a question I think a lot of people would want to know about you, Gary, and maybe not everybody asks you, but what do you really care about?
I mean, outside of the only thing I really care about, truly the only thing I care about, and it's a specific to a cliche answer, the only thing I really care about is the health of my friends and family. Not even my friends and family, their actual health. Because it's the one thing I can't control. Right? So caring about your friends and family generically, I think financially and connections wise, I can do a lot of things.
Nice.
I can bring them happiness by buying my friend front court seats at a Phoenix Suns game. I can pay for their vacation. I can do a lot of nice things because I've done well. But if they have cancer, I guess the financial part, but so the thing that keeps me up at night is, how much longer can I be on this run? I lost 3 of my 4 grandparents before I was born. So I haven't had a lot of death. And knock on wood, I haven't had a lot of stunning acts. My sister in high school, her 3rd best friend, which is in her clique, died in a car accident. I haven't had those. So, and now I'm 38. And you start time starts running out of that. Your parents have a 6 in front of their age instead of a 5. And, I'm very worried and spend a lot of time worrying about the health of my family.
And you got a daughter.
And a son. I have a 4-year-old daughter and a 1.5-year-old son. So, that's an easy answer of mattering, right?
Yeah. So I heard once you're learning. Tell us about how you learn about what's happening out there. What are some of the knacks that you have that might not even be in the book? What's the secret? There's a couple secret things I think
you mean
about.
The creeping up on
the
14-year-olds?
Creeping. There could be other things. There's things you're doing that are unconventional.
All I care about is habits.
Yeah.
Human habits. The psychology of why we do things.
Yeah.
So I think we're inherently lazy. So Netflix, when everybody thought wasn't going to win, I thought Blockbuster was in trouble a long time ago because I said to myself, wait a minute, I'd rather lay in bed in my underwear hitting a button than go to Blockbuster, right? The drones, everybody's like, well, Walmart is still everywhere. I'm like, but you don't understand. If I can hit a button on Prime on Amazon for my milk and it'll show up in 30 minutes, I'd much rather have that happen than get in my car and go to Walmart if it costs me 17 minutes, because in those 17 minutes, I'm driving and at a store. In that 30 minutes,
time becomes the most
time
important
is the
feature.
only thing that matters. What do you value?
Oh, it's time.
Time is
you can't get it back.
Time.
Right.
So people are naive. So I look at habits. iTunes every morning. I look at the top 100 apps, free apps, to try to see what's working, what kind of emoji cons every morning. Just because I like watching the charts move. Yeah. It was fun for me to watch Instagram and Vine battle. I'm trying to understand. The thing that you really want me to bring up is I roll up on 13-year-old girls and boys and I spook on them while they're hanging out. I'm rolling up. I'm like the old creepy guy trying to figure out what's on their screen on their phone because I'm completely infatuated with the front screen of people because it's the things they care about. It's how I figured out Winalo, which is a site that's blowing up. So those are 2 of my favorite moves.
No, that's pretty interesting. So you're a passionate guy.
Yes.
You're a passionate guy. You care, but at the same time, you're a person of impact. You can tell. You're moving. I mean,
I try.
You've been successful, and here you are out giving, promoting the book, but it's giving to the community and so forth. And
I run marathons, right? This $30 book on a practicality business play my ability to do masterminds offsite, I can make more if I ever, and I've debated it, if I ever said $25,000 a head, jam with me for 3 days on an island, I can make more money than all the work in one fucking 3-day period. I don't know if you can curse on this thing. You can beep it. I can make more money on 3 days than I do with this stuff, but the impact is less.
Yeah.
This is a broad impact. There's, everybody watching can, you'd like to think, I'm just gonna knock on wood because I'd feel sad if they couldn't. Most people can afford a $30 book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like try to reach as many people as I can.
What are some of the trends you see coming down the road? I mean, you alluded it to a little bit. I mean, obviously Bezos with the delivery by drones and things like that. But what are some of the trends you see coming down with technology?
I think what Uber and Airbnb are doing is the most interesting thing to me. They're disrupting real world with technology. So the notion of like seamless, which is a big play in New York City. I don't know if that's everywhere, but like I have not ordered food in New York City from anywhere but Seamless because it's a list of all the restaurants. How does technology shrink the middle? Like if I wanted a cup of hot chocolate right now, which is what I want, I'm willing to pay $20 for it. And so can I hit a button right now and get it? Like, I think the answer is yes. I don't want to go to the cleaners to pick up my cleaners. Like, can I have a cleaners Uber where I can just like hit a button, people pick up my laundry, and then like they just drop it back off? There's a company I invested in that's doing that for office space now. Inefficiencies. In this beautiful town of Portland, there's so many empty office spaces. Can they just rent it to me? I was here all day today. I didn't need to sit in my hotel room doing all my meetings. If there was something that allowed me to be in a beautiful office that had a nice ambient, maybe I would have paid $200 for it. Somebody's sitting on that. So what I call sawdust, the notion of there's a byproduct of something else. One day people were cutting wood and they looked on the ground and like, maybe we should sell this dust. And they sold it. I'm obsessed with that. Sawdust. Like what assets exist that we can sell? Airbnb. People's empty apartments. And the hotel industry gets disrupted. So thinking about what can we do? What do we value? Conferences that a lot of us go to. I only go to conferences to network in the hallway. Forget about the actual content because we can watch on video. So there's just a lot of shifts going on. I think about the middle a lot.
That's great. People appreciate that. I mean, that's something everybody can do, right?
I think so. I think there's no better answer to this question, and I see how you're setting it up. So to bring value to the audience, scratch your own itch. Every time you, for the rest of your life, say, I wish that, or wouldn't it be great that? Then Google it and find out if it exists, and if not, think it through. My sister came up with a great one. I don't know if it exists. I haven't looked yet. She's like, listen, I'm breastfeeding right now. She's breastfeeding her, sorry, Liz. She's breastfeeding her daughter. It's a growing trend, a lot of health benefits. So looking at the data, you know this? Yeah, so it's a growing trend. If you feel the trend continues, you say, okay, wait a minute, there's gonna be many more millions of people breastfeeding. Liz said her biggest problem is when she's out and she has to breastfeed, she doesn't know where in that place. And so like the notion of an app that shows you like places where it's safe to like breastfeed or places you could go, like, and it's silly, right? But then you think like, if it actually works and there's actually 1 million women a year that need it, and you could charge $2 for it for, like, I don't know, like when did a $2 million business, like, how valuable that is to a lot of people? So I just think that like, there's a lot of opportunities for that. Like, I wish I didn't, especially with time, I wish I didn't have to pick up my kid. Well, is there a play? I wish I didn't have to pick up this stuff. Is there a play? This is taking me too much time. Is there a play? I mean, we don't even do phone calls anymore. We want to do texts because we value time, not because we hate each other.
Right. What kind of feedback are you getting so far from the book here?
It's only a week old as the time we're taping this. I don't know when you're putting this out, but the number one thing that excited me, and I don't know how nerdy you guys get on here, but somebody took a screenshot. If you manage your own Facebook page, at the top, it shows you your posts and how many impressions it got, how many people it reached. Somebody took a screenshot already. This blew my mind. I didn't expect this. I was so excited. And he showed me, and he highlighted too, and he goes, these are my last 7 posts, because that's what it usually shows you. And he said, look at the 2 in the middle. Those are the 2 that I took your advice. And his other 5 posts reached 20,000 people, and those 2 reached 45,000 people. And it just meant a lot to me, because that's really what I care about. This is a video. this is going to be put out in your world, right?
Yep.
It's going to go out on email form. Some people are going to post on. So I don't know what it's going to happen, but at the end of the day, the potential amount of people that can see this versus the actual amount of people that see it is what this book's about. How do you maximize the potential to see what you're actually talking about? That's what this is a blueprint for. That if you're going to spend time on Facebook and Pinterest and Instagram, Tumblr and all this stuff, you might as well get the most out of it.
So are these other things dying? Is email dying? You know, what's going on?
Dying's a tough thing. Listen, I'm an email marketer. It's how I built WineLibrary.com in 1996. Email marketing is not as good as it was 5 years ago because of supply and demand.
Right.
Open rates and click-throughs are down.
Yeah.
So is it dead? No. There's probably many healthy lists out there.
Yeah.
I still think it's the killer app. But is it performing to the same ability that it used to? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Sometimes we get people at Choose Growth, they're like, how can you help me with marketing? And our response has always been, well, it's a multifaceted thing. I mean, there isn't this one thing. It's not like it used to be, like placing ads or email marketing or these kinds of things. And sometimes we feel like, wow, they're wanting us to do something for them. And we've always looked at it as a partnership. Because if there's the owner, the company itself, has a lot to do with that, right? So how would you define, if someone's like, hey, I want to have good marketing, what does that look like to you?
The first question I ask is, what are you trying to sell? And the second I understand what they're trying to sell, then I can start in my mind mapping where do they need to be.
Yeah.
Marketing's hard. And I'm so thankful that I got naturally good at it. And the other thing I'm naturally good at is moving to where the game is going.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being in business today not trying to desperately figure out how to storytell on social networks. And I see a lot of people holding on to their email list and saying, no, it's email. And every day they're looking, and I promise if they look back 24 months ago, if they were at a stable place, they're not getting the same results. Yeah. And people become romantic because it's how you made your money. It's kind of like the high school football player that was like good looking in high school, and it was the best moments of his life, right? Yeah. He's never had it better than when he was 17. He started losing his hair. He just didn't get a good job. It's never been better than he was 17. And you see him, and he only wants to talk about that. Yeah. That's how I look at marketers who figured out how to do email or SEO and don't want to adjust to social. Yeah. I look at them with that same sad face that I look at the person that lives in high school, because that's their glory days. And what's scary to me is they can still get away with it right now. Yeah. And they're not going to be able to in 2017, and that's about 2 minutes away. Right. And that's what scares me, and that's what gives me passion to sit and do this right now, because I know I'm talking to that audience right now.
Oh, absolutely are. And just to kind of wrap things up, I mean, one of the things I've noticed about you in the last few years is it's very obvious that you're a hard worker. When it comes down to it, some people, I think, are just not willing to do the effort, the hard work, day in, day out. Because there's this thing called momentum, right? What do you have to say about that?
I love that you brought that up, and I haven't heard a lot of people bring that up to me before, and I'm a big fan of momentum. I'm a huge sports fan, and you are not paying attention if you don't understand momentum is one of the most interesting things in life. It is so fascinating to watch a sporting event where it's so clear the other side has more talent, and then one little thing happens and it changes the mood. As a matter of fact, I believe in it so much. When AJ, my brother, who's my partner in VaynerMedia, is 11 years younger than me, when he was playing intramural basketball, which he loved very much, competitively, it was a bigger deal than their high school basketball team. I used to go to their games once in a blue moon, because now I was back from school. He was 16, I was 27. And I would cheer from the crowd and try to change the momentum. I would like taunt the other team, and like literally like it works. It's incredible. I'm not very physically gifted in sports, and I've had a lot of great successes in backyard football, pickup basketball games, random tennis matches, purely on momentum. Because I seize the opportunity to use the psychology of what momentum is. Momentum's a huge deal. It's a huge deal. And you're right. And I'll tell you something else. In the space of, personal growth and masterminds and marketing, there's a lot of people that look at it as a quick fix. Right. That if I can create the right algorithm, I could be on the beach. And there's like a lot of famous people who are like, portray themselves living on a beach with a surfboard, and that's their lives, and it's awesome. And I just am so the opposite of that. But now listen, I'm a workaholic and I love to work.
Yeah.
If you don't, awesome. But this notion of why am I not getting the results? It's because you're playing Xbox and you're going to 4-day vacations every other day. Like, there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's no substitute for hard work.
Yeah. Yeah.
There just isn't. Like, people always come up to me, they're like, you sell this hard work stuff. Well, I work smart. And I'm like, well, douchebag, I work hard and smart. Now what? Like, okay, good. I work plenty smart, just as smart as you. But I also work twice as much as you. Like, now what?
Yeah.
And listen, on the flip side, and I don't want anybody to get confused, work-life balance matters. If you get enormous joy out of the fact that you work half the year and the other half of the year you party/vacation, God bless. For me, I have very different goals than the far majority of people in the space. I want to buy the New York Jets. That's $1 billion, $2 billion play for me. I don't have the quick hit talent. I'm not going to build Facebook. Yeah. I'm not going to do a hedge fund for 5 years and cash out. I've got to work. I've got to grind. I'm very self-aware. I will tell you the reason I'm sitting here and you have any interest in interviewing me is strictly predicated on 2 personality traits: empathy and self-awareness. And if you're blessed to have those 2 things, you can have a very happy life.
So I hear the New York Jets thing. What's the big picture in addition to that? What is the big vision for you?
I want every person that I ever meet to go to my funeral.
I love it. That's Gary Vaynerchuck, the real deal, authentic leadership. You can tell he's passionate about what he's doing. The goods are in the book. Thank you so much for coming by.
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you. Spend some time.